Skadoosh ASMR Heavy. Hello there, it's me, your best bud with the ASMR goods. ASMR Heavy. That's right, we're back with another Dooley Slot Makes All Contento video. I hope you are finding this video well. Hopefully you are good. And we are back with another Monday night movie club. The Fast and the Furious. The Fast and the Furious. The Fast and the Furious. Before we get into it, as ever, we're gonna have a little chat about the film. We'll have a little chat about it. A little bit of rambly. We'll do a bit of colouring in for this colouring page. We'll hopefully do something artistic, but it'll probably look not very good at all. I am not an artist. But that's okay. But other than that, we'll hopefully make some nice sounds and visuals. That's the only real goal here, is to make a nice, relaxing, just a nice little video, basically, And if you've got any ideas for a video, all you have got to do is tell me in the comment section down below. Also, if there's any part of this video that you think, this isn't too good, but maybe there's something coming, just double tap that screen and it'll fast forward for you. Wow. But yeah, if you've got any ideas, hit me with them. I'll give them a go. Maybe my favourite thing at the minute is just making some of these requests. It's not always good. I'm not always good at them. Hands up. Hands up, I'm not always good at them, but we can only try, isn't it? I think that's the thing that's important in this life, is you give it a go. The end product isn't always necessarily have to be something good for it to have been at least something worthwhile. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, other than that, like I say, I hope this video finds you well, and we'll get into a little bit of colouring and a little bit of chat about the Fast and the Furious. The Fast and the Furious. The Fast and the Furious. I can't lie, I love the Fast and the Furious. I think it's a great. I think it's the first one is a great film. What they did with it afterwards is debatable. It's a bit like Marmite. We've got our handy dandy Superman, Spider-Man, colouring pencils. Which will deliver us some nice colours. Will deliver us Spider-Man, radioactive spider blood. They will, as ever, deliver us some nice colours. And we'll try. It's not probably going to look very good, but we're going to do this in an orange, with the idea of it hopefully coming out a bit like the Supra. But yeah, great. I love Fast and Furious, I can't lie. I don't know why people don't like them, to be honest. I know the new ones have become super ridiculous in terms of the way that they've gone, but sometimes you have to enjoy something for what it is, not what it could be. I know people miss out the street, that's why this first one is so good, but maybe the first one is so good because we have this idea of what we compare it to the new ones, and that makes it better. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's why. But also, what a time! It was just a time, time to be alive. I kind of wish I was a bit older at that time, that I could drive myself when it came out. You had the Fast and the Furious, you had Need for Speed, Underground, and then Underground 2, and then they brought out Too Fast, Too Furious, which stuck somewhat with the street racing theme. It got a bit more into some other stuff, but the street racing was still pretty pure, even up to Tokyo Drift. It was very heavily based on street racing. They had obviously other parts of the story in that, and I feel like the only way they could raise the stakes outside of it just being about racing is the way that they did with organised crimes. So, and you know, police involvement and stuff. So it is what it is. The only way you get the stories is because it's that way. Basically, is my take. Is my take. But yeah, which is a time, like I say, to be alive. Max Power, and I don't know if Max Power was a thing in America, but in the UK you had Max Power, which was basically, was it just a magazine? But they did car shows where people would take cars similar to like the Fast and Furious kind of like places, the settings in Fast and Furious, like race wars, etc., and the street race at the start, where they would meet up and show off their cars, and it was a social gathering of car lovers. Max Power was a similar thing, but like I said, I don't know if it was UK based only, but I just remember getting the magazines. Like I say, I kind of wish I was a bit older and maybe I'd have been able to inject myself into the car scene, but I was still young. It was just me and my friends used to go out and play. But we did look, we kind of imagined what it would be like using our push bikes. I had a golden bike, so much so that even my friends would call me Daniel Gold Bike. Weird, ain't it, how you get like because there was 3 Dans, that's why, there was 3 Daniels, so just easiest for them to call me Daniel Gold Bike. But yeah, what a time. I don't know, it was just a whole thing, the whole aesthetics, the feel, I don't know, it's just, and maybe that's been heightened by the beautiful power of nostalgia. The beautiful power of nostalgia has maybe heightened these feelings for me personally, and as well as other people. But like I say, it's still something on my bucket list, is to own some kind of street race-esque, you know, either a JDM car or a muscle car of some kind. Is still somewhere on my bucket list, but we'll see if that ever happens. But yeah, I am very much, as 50 Cent, the great 50 Cent would say, I'm a window shopper. Mad at me. Mad at him, and I think he knows why. But anyway. Yeah, I'm one of these that likes just, I'll spend a bit of time, probably every week, just scrolling like eBay or Trader and looking at motors. I did have a really good opportunity once to own the green Eclipse that Brian has, literally in the opening of the film. After the truck sets off and you see the Civics take the truck, and it sets the scene for like the whole story basically, with the backdrop of it being that somebody's stealing these trucks, jacking these trucks, and all this technology, which is also what a time capsule here. I like that. I wonder if I swear, don't quote me, they said like 6 million that had been stolen in these trucks. And either I'm underestimating the ability, the you know, the size of these trucks, you know, how much tech you could actually get in these trucks, or I'm correct in that stuff would not be worth anywhere near what it is today, apart from in the small caveat that potentially some of that stuff is actually worth more because of, you know, scarcity, and it's not available anymore, and it's like a classic piece. But like DVD players, nobody even thinks about DVD players now, I don't think. I still own a DVD player because DVDs are cool. Yeah, but I imagine, I bet you those kids these days, yeah, they don't even know what a DVD player is. They're like, you what? You put a disc into this piece of machine and you watch the film that way? Just get it on Netflix, mate. Get it on Amazon Prime or Disney Plus. Why would I want to go out and buy a disc and wait for the disc to come when I can watch it straight away? Crazy, right? Crazy. Interesting. But yeah, I had a chance to own that Eclipse. I think it was probably would have needed a bit of work. It was an X-Track car, an X-Track Day car, and it was on eBay for like just over 10,000, I think. And like value for money wise, you know, even if you had to put another 10 in it, that I don't think you'd find an Eclipse in the UK, especially of that shape, for probably anywhere near that anyway. Not that it's worth more, not that it's probably worth that, but scarcity, like I say, is what drives the car market anyway, a lot of the time. Scarcity adds, coupled with like car part prices, whether they make those car parts anymore, can easily drive a price down. If something's still, well, actually both. I don't know. I think it's also depends on like the demand as well. There's a lot of factors. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this car isn't gonna look anything good, to be honest. I feel like they did it dirty, really. They should have picked something that made more sense. Yeah, I feel like whoever did this design for this specific one could have done a better job with the car, at least. Made it something, like I say, even if it was just even the easiest thing surely is just to do the charger, you know, a big block. And at least you'd be like, oh yeah, that's the charger. Whereas that, what even car is this supposed to be? The grill area is too big. The shapes are just weirdly proportioned. It looks like a Mondeo or something, yeah. It looks like a Mondeo or any type of regular saloon. But not even a good one. Look, it's not even sleek. I don't know. I feel like they butchered that, to be honest. They could have done better. And then this whole geometry thing they've got going on, which could be cool. Like I say, if you had something that actually was a cool car, that would be cool. But I don't know. And look, it's not even got any shapes. I don't know. I'm really unsure on that. I thought maybe I could salvage it, but I'm not that good. I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? I owe you a 10-second car and all that. But yeah, what a great. Anyway, let's get back to the film. Yeah, 10 minutes or whatever, and I've not even chatted about the film probably once. Just about just random stuff, which that's cool, I guess. It doesn't really matter what I find. I don't know if you're the same. Yeah, I'll stick on a video like this, especially for someone that is a creator that I very much appreciate. Yeah, and I'll just be like, they can chat whatever they want, and as long as they're chatting in a certain manner. I'll listen. I'll eat that shit up. I'll watch this. I'll listen to that more than anything, I guess. Sometimes I won't watch, but I'll eat that shit up for like an hour, at least. Maybe longer. Just because it's nice just it's just a distraction for a bit of time, ain't it? Away from normal life. A nice easy distraction. And a low maintenance distraction, I think, is the main thing about it. I feel. I don't know what colour to do the Fast and the Furious, so we're just gonna go with the blue because, you know, that's easy. I would like it in like a chrome, but one, I don't know how you could probably. There's probably people that could do that. They're very artsy, but I'm not that person. I am the person though that will at least just do these videos. So that's something to that, right? There's something in that. And like I say, some people think I'm crazy for making these videos. Just in general, because some people are like that. But I feel like, you get like 50 views, mate, if you're lucky. I feel like, yeah, but as long as one person enjoyed that, that's cool by me. I feel like we need to change. We need a change in the world, yeah, about the numbers. Like I've said it about a few times, but like, imagine if you had. So let's just bump that up a bit from 1 to like 15 people which enjoy those videos, yeah. That's like more than most people's families. Imagine all those people in a room watching like me do this right now. That is actually crazy. So like, you gotta put things in perspective. Of course, there'll be people like, and good, you know, congrats to them and awesome for them, yeah, good for them and stuff. they've got like millions of, they garner millions of views, millions of views. And like I say, that's awesome, but not everyone's destined for such things. And I think a lot of it's just, I think there is a decent amount that's luck. There's loads of different, basically there's a lot of factors that contribute. Anyway, yeah, so the film, I love the opening. There's like 3 opening parts really, isn't there? Up to the bit when he pulls up outside their like little sandwich shop, or I don't even know what you call that, to be fair. Look, it feels like there's something that they don't even, there's little bits that don't actually make sense when you think about it, but it is what it is. But anyway, there's 2 little openings. You get the truck stealing scene, which sets the scene for like the backdrop of the whole film. And then there's the scene which sets the scene for Paul Walker's character Brian, when he's, although that's I quite liked the way that they didn't really tell you that he's a cop straight away. You had to like figure that, there was probably little signs that you could figure it out, but it wasn't until they bring him in that you kind of actually know for sure. But yeah, I really like that whole scene when he's outside the stadium driving in the car park. Also, just a side note, because it reminded me how good is the soundtrack to this film. Even like now, like 20, bloody hell, it must be like 25 years old, that film now. It feels like it came out in like 2000. I'm not sure about the year it came out. I could check it, but I'm not going to. Not because I don't want to, but because I usually use my other phone, and the one that I don't use to record, and that's upstairs, so I'm not going to go get it. So, apologies. I am lazy, but if it was next to me, I'd check it, but it's not. Anyway, sidetrack. Tangent, someone clicked off just because of that, so thanks for that. But yeah, anyway, I really like that whole scene when he's in the car park. Like I say, sets the scene to, really gives you a sense of feel for the film that's coming. The way it was shot, the way it felt, the film, to build up all of it, and obviously the cars in this, the cars are the stars, and that's what I'm disappointed about this. Like, what the hell? The cars are the actual stars. The characters are also important, but they're co-stars. They're like what's it called? Supporting actor. They're the supporting actors. The cars are the actual lead actors of these films. But yeah, the cars are the stars. And what am I doing? Well, that could look pretty good. I don't even know why my brain just dissipated into nothingness then for a sec. Yeah, the cars are the stars anyway, especially in all of the films I feel the cars are the stars, but especially this first one you got, like I say, you got the green Eclipse, you got the black Civics, the 3, you've got the whole Cruise set of cars, you got Dom's RX-7, what's his name, Leon's R33 Skyline, awesome. I'm pretty sure there's 2 Sylvias, right? Is that right? That's where I get a bit hazy. I swear Vince has got a Sylvia, but I'm not sure. It might be called actually, is it called like a Prisma or something like that? Letters is definitely a Sylvia. Nissan Sylvia. S14, S14, I'm pretty sure. I used to really love cars, and I still do, but my knowledge and my love for it is not as much as it used to be, so it's in there somewhere, but it's probably, if I butcher anything, that's why. Like I say, life has gotten the better of me in that respect. Cars are just so expensive. Although, like I say, I do get nearly suckered into buying something interesting at least once a month. Like I say, we had the green Eclipse was so close to just being like, yes, let's just go for it. I need to buy a Mustang like every month, or some kind of like American muscle car. Especially because you can find some wild good pickups in the UK car-wise. They've been imported, so they're left-hand drive, but like there's some interesting like Chevelles. Never anything too crazy. You never get like a Charger or. But I see some older Mustangs, especially in decent shape by the look of it as well. You'd have to go look at them in person though, wouldn't you? But for what they are, it feels like they're really cheap. But like I say, I'm not sure. If you wanted something that was actually a classic in this country, like a Mark II Escort or a Capri or something along those kind of lines, you are looking at some mad money these days. You know, a lot of the ones that stand out to me are like Fords though. Or you wanted like if you wanted like a Lotus Carlton, you know, the original, the original go-to for the criminals. You are looking at some exceptionally mad money, but I guess you would just steal one, wouldn't you? You just steal one, because that's the whole point. That's the whole point of those cars. How'd you do? Is this a grey? I don't know, it feels like it's grey, but it doesn't look, it looks grey in the pencil. It looks grey in the pencil. Probably looks brown in this, but I swear it looks grey. But I'm not sure if it is, if it's going to come out grey. But yeah, you got obviously the Charger, Dom's dad's Charger, Madness, which then is like been the main star of the whole show for like the whole time the series has been going now, the whole series of films. Which is cool. It is an awesome car. They've messed around with it a few times as well. I wouldn't, you know what actually makes me think though, like, is how many, hopefully they just make, in the new ones especially, they actually just custom build some of these Chargers, because how many Chargers are they actually just ruining? Not because they want to, because they have to, you know, they'll have certain cars they have, like spoiler alert, I don't usually do spoilers alerts in these, because like I say, these films are old, so if you've not watched them, it's what it is. But we're talking about the newest one, so spoiler alert if you've not watched it, when he drives the Charger off the dam, I mean, you're blowing up some Chargers to do those kind of things, and it was a pretty custom-ish one, wasn't it? Or like in the one, I can't remember which one it was, but when they're in the one with the submarine, just saying, it's so stupid, ain't it? But speaking of that kind of stuff, yeah, my opinion is that the way it's going to end, or I like this idea anyway, and it makes sense then, and it ties it all together, but I'm just not sure of the specifics that they pull away at the end of the whole thing. You know, it's just them playing with toy cars as kids with their imagination, and that's why it just kept getting more and more out of hand, because they kept coming up with more and more crazy storylines, but they're just kids, so that's what you do in it when you're a kid. You come up with, oh wow, this happened, and then this happened, but then it would all make sense, and you'd be like, that's cool actually, wow. But like I say, do you have all of the characters as kids, and it was just them playing it over a long period of time, and that's why the storylines were different and who was in it was different. Otherwise, who'd you pick? Because yeah, for it to make sense, they don't have to be in each story to be the person playing with them. I mean, we play video games all the time which don't have anything to do with you or anyone you know. Even if it's got a character creator, you create a character that isn't even you. And a lot of people, I sometimes try and make it me, but I'm not very good at that either. As you see by my art, my fabulous art. I don't know what that. What is that? What is that though? What is that supposed to be? I don't know. I feel like that's supposed to be an explosion, right? But then what the hell is that? I feel like it's okay for it to be like this bit to be well messy. Well, I leave it to be messy. It's just abstract, isn't it? It's supposed to be abstract. That's the point. But yeah, I really like these films. I can't lie. Like I say, to be fair, I like pretty much any film. I'm not a hater. I'm not a film critic. So as long as the film delivers something interesting, it can keep me engaged. It doesn't have to do much more than that for me to be like, you know what, that was good. I rate that. So yeah, it's a low threshold, but like I say, I operate on a good or bad. And like I say, you've really got to have failed quite heavily for me to give something a bad. Do we give this a load of black accents to really set it off? And then maybe it won't look quite so rubbish. It won't look quite so rubbish then. It won't look quite so rubbish. Probably, I'm not gonna lie, it probably ends up looking more rubbish, but you know, we'll try. I'm not sure about that, but you know, it is what it is. Hopefully that sounded quite nice, so yeah, that's the important thing. So yeah, we're probably like half an hour in now, and I still not really talked about the film. But like I say, it doesn't really matter too much, does it? But what I talk about, the whole point is just to have some talking and some sound, just some sounds, some soft-spoken randomness. Oh yeah, we'll do these in like a tint. Then it's just done, ain't it? It's easier. Say the proportions of this are well off. It looks a bit better than before though. Now I've put some shading on it. To be fair, on this, it looks a bit better. It's still not good. But it's not as terrible. I don't really know how you do an explosion, to be honest. What colours they're supposed to be or whatever. Now it just looks like there's blood or something, but I don't know. Anyway, the whole film, Brian's a cop. He's working undercover to try and infiltrate this gang to find out who's stealing these trucks. Yeah, find out who's stealing these trucks, and he's working in, with collaboration with the FBI, and they're promising that if he does a good job, they basically fast track him to being a detective. Yeah, so that's the premise of the film. And if anyone knows who's doing this stuff, they identified that it's got to be someone in the street racing world based on the cars. 3 Honda Civics, green neon underglow, certain type of tyres, Yami Mishimono or something. I forget what you called they are. I'm not sure. They're not something I'm aware of. Not anymore anyway. They might have been back in the day when I was playing like these games and stuff, but I might be like, oh yeah, we've got to have those ones because that's the one to use in that. But no, it means nothing to me now. These days, it means nothing to me, unfortunately. You know how it is. Life gets like that. That doesn't look too bad. But yeah, life gets like that. Anyway, so they've identified that means that there must be something street race related. Street race related, because how would they know otherwise? How would they? Sorry, they wouldn't. I guess they're basing it on the likelihood that if it's not street racers, it's too coincidental. Why would they be using what they're using unless they are something to do with the street racing anyway? And if anyone knows what's happening in the street racing, it's Dominic Toretto, played by Vin Diesel, which I actually thought he did really well in that. Yeah, it's interesting that he's turned into a different. He just played he played a similar-ish character to what he played in a lot of his films back then. But it's also funny how he's actually changed quite a lot. I don't know if you noticed it as well, but I think he's changed quite a bit over the time. Probably just aging. It's not nothing specific, but it's probably just because he's got older. But anyway, I feel like shout out to all of the crew. To be fair, I don't think anyone. My take is instead of like, who's done a really good job or who's done a really bad job, or whatever it is today ever. My take on actors in films is more based on. Does anybody in this film with their performance ruin it? If they ruin it, then that's the thing that's annoying, ain't it? You don't want someone ruining a film, especially if it's good. Especially if everything else it would have been. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's the true barometer. Has anyone done a bad enough performance that you've actually ruined that film? Yeah, I can't believe you've done this. You've ruined that film. And nobody in this film does that for me. So. That's my take on how we should actually be judging like films and stuff, and whether acting performances have made it ruined it or not. Obviously, there's always room for an acting performance actually made it so much better. But yeah, when like an actor truly encapsulates that, when an actor truly encapsulates that character, like I reckon if you show people a picture of Vin Diesel, they'd be like, oh yeah, that's Dom Toretto, isn't it? Dom Toretto, family and that, yeah, jokes. Which means he's truly personified that character. So much so that probably nobody else could ever play that character now. Which is cool. It means he's done a good job. That means he's done a really good job. It means he's done a good job. And actually, I can't see how you can say he hasn't done a good job, to be fair. He's always been really good in this role. He's been good in this. He's been very good in the role, so you can't hate on that. Yeah, I always thought Dom was a cool character, so hate me if you want, but that's my take. I think Dom's a good character. I think they're all good characters. I just feel the only thing with the series, personally, is it's a shame we haven't seen much of the original crew. There's probably pretty obvious reasons why Leon and Jesse haven't been in it again. But it's just a shame, especially with all the different characters coming back in different capacities at different points again and again, to not see those guys and they're being like some of the OGs. It's a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. But yeah, so if anyone knows what's going on in the street race scene, it's Dom Toretto. So Brian's trying to infiltrate the scene. Brian Earl Spillner, some kind of serial killer name. Real name Brian O'Connor. But he bites off more than he can chew, don't he, basically? He falls in love with Mia. How could he not? She's a nice, although I don't like the bit in the kitchen, yeah. I know Vincent's being an a-hole, but I don't like that scene in the kitchen when they're washing up and he's like, oh, after you're done, you can wash my car. And then wear your nice little dress, because you're throwing your out with the trash and stuff, yeah. And then Mia kind of just like, it's actually a bit mean to him, actually. Maybe, whether it's deserved or not, that's another thing, but I feel like her character didn't need to do that, but I think she was just looking for an excuse. I think she actually fancied Brian quite a lot. You could see that with the way that she was acting throughout. Like when they first come back to the house after the... I'm jumping all over the place. I do this in every one of these. I just all over the place, yeah. Just a little scene when Brian and Dom come back in the taxi after all the shenanigans with what's his face, Johnny Tran. Is his name Johnny Tran? I literally just watched it and it's jumped out my head. But they go into the turf they shouldn't be in. Blah blah blah. When they come back and she sees that he's back, rather than just being like, oh, I'm not even going to go downstairs, she literally starts doing her hair and getting changed and that, which obviously means she wants to look good to catch his eye, innit? Which is cool. The feeling's mutual, as far as she's aware, because he's been coming into into Toretto's for something to eat for weeks. Hopefully we'll have more luck with the pencil sharpening today, and it won't bust up what that looks like it is. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I sharpened wrong or something. I don't know. Every time I do this, it just comes out and messes up the pencil. It's so annoying. But anyway, I didn't like that scene when she like rubbed it in his face. You want to take me to that cha. And she's like, oh, yeah, you can take me there. I don't really like that. I feel like it wasn't really necessary, but I feel like it was a bit mean. You know, she's always been a pretty nice character in the whole set of films, so it kind of seemed out of character for her character, in my opinion. But anyway, set the scene. They had that fight. What did he put in that sandwich? They had the little fight because he's been coming to the same place, and Vince also fancies Mia. And he's having tuna on white, no crust. They had the little fight, and then he obviously, Dominic has a lot of sway in what Harry does, the guy that owns the car performance place that sells parts for cars. I wonder if he gets a kickback, to be fair. They didn't really say that, but he must do to a degree. Or at least he gets a lot of sway with the tab and stuff. We'll put it on my tab at Harry's. This car will decimate all when we put 15, maybe more, in overnight parts from Japan. But yeah, I quite like all the characters, to be fair. Like I said, they fleshed them out a little. I feel like they could have put a bit more into some of them. Like how talented Jesse is, and his dad's in prison and he's obviously got some other stuff going. He's been struggling with. But yeah, a lot. There's little hints toward that in the police crew and stuff, which they bring him in. But anyway, he has the fight outside the diner, the little minute. Oh, I don't know, what do you even call that place? It's just like a little sandwich shop thing. Yeah. But anyway, he has a fight with Vince. It's quite funny. There's a good few jokes in there. Like I say, I really like the scene when they all pull up as the gang. I always thought that was so cool. Still is. And he goes back to Harry's, and that's the first little clue that we get that he's something that's not quite as it seems, because just the way he's talking to Harry, I'd never really seen it before, but when I watched it when I just watched it, I was like, oh, I was trying to take a few things in. I don't know why, ever since I've started doing this here, I've started to try and take a few things in just so I can talk about it, and then I butcher it anyway in the video, so that's cool. But like I say, hopefully that doesn't matter too much to you. Hopefully it doesn't matter too much, as long as you're getting a bit of rambly rambles and a bit of colouring sounds. Hopefully that's the vibe anyway. That's the vibe. I don't really like talking that way, but that's the vibe of this here. It's just supposed to be chill. And to be fair, especially when I look through their lens, they come out alright, just at a glance anyway. They're not too bad. It's not great, but you know, it's not too bad. Shout out to people that are really good at art though, yeah. Good for you. Must be quite cool. Must be quite cool. I'm just gonna do this as grass because I don't know what else to do it as. And it adds a bit more flavour to it then as well. Oh yeah, so yeah, he's back at Harry's, and that gives us the first little indication that something's not as it seems, because he's like, oh, what did Dominic say? This, that, the other, and he's like, and Harry, I need an arse. But it's a bit odd that there's an undertone of why he didn't get rid of him. I feel like if it was anyone else, he would have got rid of him straight away. Because he does what Dominic says, and because Dom brings a lot of business to the, because like I say, when Dominic drives, he's golden. All that, yeah. So like I say, that gives you the first little indication that something isn't quite as it seems. As we have the return of the fly. You can't hear it because it's not very close, but I can hear it. Goddamn fly. It's a continuation of this. We're going to give this some very vague blue lights. And then we'll give it a yellow. We'll give it some yellow as well. How stupid am I? I should have gave it some underglow. Should have gave it an orange underglow. It's a shame they ain't really a thing as much anymore, because I'd love some underglow on my car. That'd be cool. It's not really a car that suits underglow, but underglow. Neon lights. That was always that. Yeah, I love putting that on my car. And underground. Really set it off. Also, I should have gave this car a big wang. A huge wang. I'm not very good at aspects though. Aspect ratio. Pencil. kind of works. Not really, but you get the picture. You get the picture. You get the idea. 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 But once again, I've rambled on for 18 pages about nothing. Anyway, he then gets the NOS and he goes and he gets involved in his first car scene properly, because he goes to the street race scene. He gets involved in the race. He obviously, I don't know, I understand that bit though, to be fair. Why wouldn't he have just asked the people he's working for some money? Because he's like, oh, look, I need to get in the race. That's the best way to gain the respect. That was the whole point of the race for Brian. Get the respect of Dom. But maybe that was part of it. Maybe it made more sense to put the car up. And maybe he thought he just couldn't not win. So it wouldn't have mattered either way. But maybe risking the car was an easier way to get respect in his head. Because it shows you're willing to risk everything. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I just thought that was interesting as well. Why wouldn't you just ask for the money and then you've not got to take that risk? But also, it wouldn't have set the film the same way. So it's probably just plot armor. So he gets involved in the street race. There's loads of throughout the whole film. There's loads of little snippets like, oh, it's not how you stand by your car, it's how you race your car, and all that kind of stuff. He's like, my name's Hector. I got a second name too, but I can't pronounce it. I'm trying to get in the narrow secret. All that stuff, yeah. Loads of little snippets, which is infinitely quotable for no reason. Anyway, he gets involved in the street race. He's actually doing pretty well. He takes the lead, but then Dom's been keeping his NOS. After Brian hits it with the NOS, goes from fair. Although I always thought it was funny when he pulls up to the line, and he overshoots it, showing how nervous he is, how anxious he is. Yeah. Anyway, he thinks he's gonna win he almost had you, but he didn't. Never had you. You never had his car. It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning. Ask any racer. Ask any real racer. That's what I mean. The lines in it are great. Yeah, I can't lie. The lines are gold. Always interests me though. I wonder if that's through. Is that good writing? Was it just so well written, or is it just a bit of something to do with fortune and how the film becomes popular? Like, do they basically? I wonder how many of obviously there were certain ones like in Rocky when he's like, it's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit. He had an idea that was going to be something that was super inspirational. That was the whole point. But like I say, the bit when he's like, oh, you want me a 10-second car? Like, did he really think that would be quotable? Or even is it? Is that just my opinion and I'm just crazy? Yeah. Like I say, I love these films, I can't lie. I don't know if that's come across or not. Probably a little. Maybe a lot. Who knows? But yeah, so he gets involved in the street race, he messes up, he needs to replace the piston rings he fried. Anyway, yeah, I don't really know a lot about cars. I used to really want to know a lot about cars, but I don't really. Unfortunately, I did some stuff with car work before, and it just freaked me out. The idea that you're responsible for that person's safety. If you mess something up, one tiny thing on that car, potentially you could put them in an accident, and that kind of messed me up for wanting to work with cars. And so I became a computer nerd instead, which is cool. It's a job, ain't it? It's a job. Job's about just getting a job you can at least not hate, that pays your way through life. That's the point. That's all you need, ain't it? That's all you need. That's all you need in this life. Anyway, so he gets involved in the street race. He messes it up, but I think he did gain some respect, especially after what happens with the police intercepting the street race scenario. Although, shout out to the pizza boy. Hey, pizza boy, find another way home. That's actually the director making a cameo, just in case you wanted to know. I swear it's the director anyway. Someone behind the scenes, which is really important. I'm pretty sure that's who it was. Yeah, so he messes it up, but like I say, they get done, but the police infiltrate the whole thing. It's a scramble, baby. And then we got cops, go! So they all get out of there. Brian, though, Dom gets rid of his car, parks in the garage, he thinks he's been slick. We all think he do. And then all of a sudden the cop turns around and he's like, Dorito! But who comes to his rescue? That's right, Brian. Brian saves him in the eclipse. Which, I wonder how realistic that is too, to be fair. I wonder how realistic that is. Because the way he just was driving the car, would it drive as well as it did in that little bit of a section of the film? Based on how much harshly he damaged some of the car. That's interesting. But he does anyway. Sets up a nice scene where he evades the police and gets away. And then it sets up a little bit of a scene for them to have a little chat about, oh, looks like you drove like you've done this before. And then, obviously, I'm pretty sure, I think anyway, I never really established that, but I always just assumed that what they found out about him was actually just set up by the police, whether it actually was, and that's how he got into being in the police in the first place. Like the whole story, he keeps like swaying back and forth between crime and being an officer of the law and trying to uphold right and wrong. Anyway, gains respect. They get done by the Johnny Trennan and his cousin in the snakeskin pants, Lance. They blow up the eclipse. Horrible scene. Can't believe they blew it up. No, oh my god, NOS! The NOS blows up the car. Crazy work. They go back to the house. There's the whole scene with that in the house. Like I say, you can have any drink you want as long as it's a Corona. You got that scene. Like I said, there's loads. I think the whole film is like an absolute masterpiece. To be honest, the more I think about it, each scene is just so good. I really enjoy it. Then he gets taken in. I'm pretty sure that's straight after that bit, right? He gets taken back in by the police. That's when That's when the story really comes to life. That he's actually trying to infiltrate this. And then we also find out a bit more about Dom, and that he beat somebody up with a wrench, smashed his face in. Then he takes the car. I'm probably butchering this once again. He takes that Supra though, unbelievably, one of the heroes of the. It's crazy though, yeah. So the Supra and the Charger for the final scene, probably one of the best scenes in cinema history. Surely. On green, I'm going for it. Those tracks down there are exactly a quarter mile, yeah. And they beat the train and all that. Loads of crazy unnecessary risks for no reason, and then they actually do it. Just despite was it one of the pistons blew on the car? I'm not sure actually. Like I said, something happens to the Charger anyway, blows out. Also, yeah, that gave me another flashback. Like I say, butchered, and all over the place. But that's fine. This is my nature, and that is what it is. It is what it is. But that whole scene in the first race, the first quarter mile race, when he's like, go, and then the thing where the sequence where it flies through the car all the way through to the exhaust and it taking off. What absolute cinematography that is. Unbelievable. Whoever put that together, especially because that would have been edited, especially back then, unbelievable work. Shout out to them, yeah, unbelievable quality. There probably was a team, to be fair, but yeah, great, unbelievably good work that is. I can't lie, good work. Anyway, you got the whole race wars scenes. That's cool. Race wars, and he loses the Jetta. The bit when they think he's a cop and they infiltrate it. The bits like I talked about, they have the barbecue moment and they're saying grace, and it sets up the whole thing for them being family and that. And although like they're doing bad things, it's kind of for a good reason. Kind of. I'm not saying it's right, but you know what I mean. You kind of start to see what Brian falls in love with the whole thing, the family, Mia, the friend, the kinship, the whole kinship. Yeah, it's the kind of setting you'd want to be a part of. Is what they're trying to set up, ain't it? It's the whole package, and it kind of shows you why. Pretty much the whole way through, he turns all the way up to that last scene when he gives him the car, and he's like, "I owe you a 10-second car." At the very end, when he gives him the Supra after, he crashes into that wagon and it pulls out, and he flips it, and that's just horrible, ain't it? Smashes that Charger up. But like I said, it sets the scene for the whole sequence of the films that is cursed, but the whole idea that the Charger is cursed, but and he was always so scared of using it, but then it's part of basically his whole like personality as the films go on, which is crazy, right? You think if he was so scared of it, he'd never use it again. Surely he'd just move on to something else. I also thought it was interesting that he's like, the films portray him as like super into American muscle, but the only car up to that very end bit when he takes the Charger is we only see him in the RX-7, which is not American muscle at all, which is interesting. Anyway, we have that scene, we have those scenes, we have like I say, setting the scene for especially the whole franchise with Brian and Mia going out on a date, and eventually what that leads to, one thing leads to another kind of thing, although then that leads to the raid, don't it, because they call him in the middle of the night saying they've set up for the raid on Johnny Tran. They raid his house. That's quite funny when one of them gets clotheslined, and the dad is absolutely infuriated by the shame that he brings on the family and slaps him. That's pretty cool scene. Well, I'm probably missing some stuff, but I just thought, because like I say, I love these films. I love this film specifically as well. I just thought I want to cover it. I just want to at least touch on all the little bits and bobs just because I can. And just have a little, even if it's only just mentioning what happens. Hopefully give a little bit of my take on it as well. But like I say, then you have that last sequence when, the penultimate sequence with the truck. That Brian tells Mia he's a cop. She's like, "Oh, you bastard," which, how else would you act? But you could see that he clearly still like, he wasn't lying. He is in love with her. That's what he turns, ain't it? But yeah, the truck stealing goes wrong because Jesse lost his car for his dad's car for pink slips in the race against Johnny Tran. That's what I mean. Like the whole thing is just so, to me anyway. I couldn't write something so intertwined. I don't think. I just feel like it was so. It's such a well written film with everything kind of. It leads into itself. It leads into itself. It leads into itself. It leads into itself, kind of thing, don't it? And then, like I say, it all comes back to. I feel like that's one of the reasons that they mess up that final. The reason that they mess up that truck stealing segment is because Jesse isn't there. So, I think it would have also went badly either way. To be fair, but I feel like it would have gone a bit smoother if they had Jesse, just one extra person, and it meant that there was that switch over then basically between the two. So, because that's what they was doing. One car would shoot the first one, and then the second car would pull straight up, shoot the next one, and climb in. Whereas they didn't have that, so whether that little bit of extra time would have meant that Dom would have seen that he had a shooter before that he had that shotgun before he actually was literally jumping off the car vents. I think maybe that would have been quite important to saving him from any of that fate, because then he gets stuck. Because he has jumped then, and then he gets stuck on there, and that guy's an absolute menace. That truck driver. He's shooting. He's not giving that up, which is crazy. If I was that truck driver, surely he'd just be like, "Look, don't smack me up. I'll pull over. I'll just give you the truck. It's not worth it unless it's his stuff. Surely it's not worth the hassle. Because what about he didn't know for a fact that they wasn't going to pull out guns? What about if Dom and his crew would have pulled out guns and started shooting back? And there's, like I say, there's 3 of their cars. You don't know how many people are in each car. There's at least 2 in the one car, so there's a good chance that there's more people in other cars. Basically, the point is, surely that's too much of a risk, but then also, like I say, it wouldn't fit for the plot, would it? But it is what it is. That's the way with stories. Plot. Oh, man. The story's about the plot. It doesn't really matter how or why, and whether stuff makes sense. Did you enjoy it? That's like I say, did you enjoy it? Was there anything that taken away from the enjoyment? If it was something super like, why would you even do that in the first place? Then fair enough. That can potentially be a ruiner of the film. But like I say, a lot of the time, you got to really stretch for that aim. You got to really stretch for it. And that is what it is. I don't do that personally. I look for what was good about it. That's what I'm trying to showcase in this. Like I say, I really love this film. Actually, it's based. That'd be interesting. I wonder if I watch it now, I'd like it as much as the nostalgia has granted me. And like I say, it was such a great film at the time. We'd sit around and watch it as a group. Me and my friends and stuff. And it'd be like, oh wow, this is so good. And we'd be quoting it. And although I'm pretty sure I quoted a lot of stuff wrong because I didn't actually know what they were saying. I just thought they were saying a thing. And I wasn't. I haven't got an example. But although unless I've said something in this as a quote, unless I've said something in this as a quote, and you've heard it and actually be like, that's not what he says. And there you go. And there's an example for you. There is an example for you. There's an example for you. So you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Anyway, Brian saves the day basically though. Saves Vince's life surely. Vince would have died if not, you'd think. Or at least would have been in more trouble. Just by the sounds of it. Based on how it played out and what happened with him going to Brazil and stuff, as we find out in the later films, that suggests to me that he didn't do any police time. But I can't remember if they touched on that in that one when he comes back into it. I don't remember. Maybe they did, and I'm just I can't recall it. Maybe. Anyway, awesome little scene when he jumps onto the truck, gets him off, and they chucks him off into the Supra, and they throw off the target top. Get rid of the target top, throw it off. There's that, and then the horrible scene. Maybe that's the thing. They did. Maybe that's why Jesse isn't in it, actually. They never really touched. I swear they've never touched on that, right? Unless I am literally having a blank. I feel like a big thing. Unless Jesse in that drive-by with Johnny training his cousin in the snakeskin pants Lance. Unless when they did the drive-by and it didn't survive. I don't know. Like I said, they never touched on it. They never really touched on it. I was just assumed. I think I always used to assume it passed, but I don't know. It's a shame, really. If probably more that actually. That's probably why I wasn't in it. But he's not been in them because he's probably gone. But I swear I've seen him since. The guy that plays the actor that plays him, and anything about being back in it. But I'm not sure. Butchering it. Luckily, pretty much no one will ever see this. No one will ever see this bit because it's so far in the video. Over an hour, right? It's got to be over an hour now. Over an hour into the video. No one's ever going to watch this bit anyway. So it's fine. It's fine. Whatever I say now, banana hammock. Whatever I say now, it doesn't really matter. Because no one's going to see it. Nobody will ever see this. That's cool, right? That's cool, pretty cool. Anyway, so that's it. So that's horrible. They chase him down though, take him out. Does he? I don't know if Brian kills Johnny Chan. That's a pretty cool sequence. So the whole little sequence of chasing the boys is cool. And then Dom slides around and knocks one of them off the hill, down that embankment, and it seems like he gets messed up. And then, like I said, the whole little chase, and then the little that Brian pulls off. That's a cool move. But yeah, never really thought about that either. Did he actually end him? Did he end him there? Did he end him? Not sure. It does go and take his balls, and it says call 911, so it makes me think he must have still been alive to a degree. Because otherwise you just run off, right? You just run off and chase Dom to set up the most, like I say, the most iconic scene of the whole film franchise, probably. I'm green, I'm going for it, and he pulls off the wheelie. I'd never seen anything like that in my life when I watched that the first time. And I was like, what the hell? Still pretty cool sequence now. Like, I wonder how actually possible that is to just set up a car that could do that in real life. Because I'm pretty sure in a lot of the sequences they've done throughout the film's franchise, where it involves a car popping the wheelie, they've used artificial ways of doing it, like either some kind of thing underneath that pops it. On one of the actual bits of that scene in the film, you can actually see it. There's like a little thing underneath with a little ramp, like a set of wheels. you can kind of see it only for a short second. But anyway, iconic. That bit, the whole thing is so cool. I can't lie. That bit is so good. I can't lie. It's so good. I love. I think I can't be but one of millions of people that love those two cars, the Supra and the Charger, just because of that sequence, which is crazy. Anyway, so good. Like I say, he's obviously got way more horsepower in that Charger, and he's pulling away. It's absolutely flying. The intake, flowing air through it. It's absolutely flying. Supercharger. And he's just about keeping up with using their NOS. Using the NOS, yeah. And somehow, fractionally, they beat the train, which is crazy. One, that train would be coming at that time when they're actually doing that. And two, that obviously, like I say, plot armor, but two, they actually happen in the first place. But it makes for a great sequence in the film, so it is what it is. It is what it is. Makes for a great sequence. But just when you think all is good, it hits you with that Marty McFly moment, yeah, which is interesting. It reminds me of that bit in Back to the Future where the car pulls. The Rolls Royce Marty would have hit the Rolls Royce, but he got to miss it thanks to him learning to control his thing. It just reminds me of that sequence anyway, because the wagon pulls out, Dom hits it. You have that really cool sequence of the Charger being upside down, spinning over the top of the Supra. If you wanted to know how they filmed that flip, they put like a ramp in front of the truck, so that two of the wheels lined up on the ramp, and it flipped it like that, if that makes sense. So that's how they did that, if you wanted to ever know how they did that sequence. Which I rate as well. I assume in a lot of stuff now they don't do practically in the films. They'll do bits and bobs that they can, but there'll be certain ones that they don't. But also, I don't know. Like, maybe they did drive a Charger down the side of a dam. Maybe they did, but I know back then a lot of the stuff they could do, as much as possible, they would do practically. Although I was jumping back to these kind of like stunt things. That bit when Vince is on the truck and he's stuck, and then Letty's like, "I'm coming to get him," and then she does the whole thing of pointlessly driving underneath the wagon. It's crazy. Like, why would you even risk that? Apart from to make it one more cool little like, oh yeah, that was cool. So, just drive behind it and then drive around it basically. Why drive under it? Why? It didn't save any time. It wasn't like you just did it instantly. Lady literally took her time doing it as well, because she had to line up and all that. But like I say, it made for a cool little bit of an action shot, so it is what it is, I guess. But anyway, the car flips. Luckily, Dom's okay, and then you have the whole ultimatum moment. The climax of the whole film basically is, what's his decision? What's Brian's decision? And what does he decide? He gives up the car keys, and he tells him, "I owe you a 10-second car," and then he gets out of there, and then that sets up the whole thing. Without that, I don't think Dom ever comes back around to liking Brian. So it is what it is. Also, R.I.P. Paul, of course. Such a shame. I always thought he was a good actor and other stuff too, but his personification of Brian, great. It's a shame he's not been in the film since his tragic passing. A shame, really. Well, he has been in them kind of, but the fact that he's not been in them himself to continue the legacy of the character he created is a shame. Because I feel like that's the only thing in it, in a way. Like, I feel like those films would have been so much better. They're flying. The films could have been even better if he was in them, in my opinion. Because I always thought he was part of the glue that brought the whole thing to the level that it was. Like, I love his portrayal. I love the way that I love his performance. His performance in Too Fast, Too Furious. Ultimately, probably my favourite is Too Fast, Too Furious. Just, like I say, nostalgia wise. Like I say, those two films, the Need for Speeds, Underground 1 and 2, and then, like I say, the whole Max Power thing, and just the time, my age then was being so susceptible to and impressionable at that time, really meant that I was like, wow, this is amazing. Imagine, I can't wait till I'm older and I can have this, that, and the other, and have a cool car, not like this, but But actually, it's turned out right now. Now that we've got here, now that we've got to this point, I feel like I didn't do too bad. Like I say, they could have done better with the car in the first place. But I mean, I just drive a Volkswagen. I don't have anything really. It's not cool. It's not cool. It's just there. It's not cool. To me, it's cool, but like it's not like something that you drive down and it just turns heads and everyone's like, wow, that's a cool car. It's like I'm driving a bright yellow R33 Nissan GTR. Do you know what I mean? Nissan Skyline GTR. I'm not driving something cool like that. Not yet anyway. Maybe one day. Or a Mustang or a Charger, or even the Chevrolet drives in the post credits. Shout out to that, yeah. It must be one of the first films to drop a post credit as well. I think it was probably the time that they were dropping post credits. I don't know how much of the law on post credits though, post credit sequences, but they dropped one in that with him driving the red Chevelle, and that was cool. But yeah, great film. I love Fast and Furious. I can't lie. Love it. I've like I say, highly rated by myself. I like the whole franchise too. I'm looking forward to the way that they finish it off. To be fair, like I say, you just gotta take them with a pinch of salt these days. These new ones, they are what they are. They're not supposed to be anything other than just a bit of crazy entertainment. Enjoy the stunts, even if they're far fetched. Like, they're driving. They're taking over something with drones and some God's eye thing and that, but it's just an idea. It doesn't have to be anything more serious. Just because I think that's where it lost a lot of people. Is it went from, even though some of the stuff was ridiculous, it was believable ridiculous. Like you could believe there was stealing trucks that way, and it was like a street racing thing, and the guy was doing undercover work, and even up to maybe the fourth one, you could kind of believe it. But yeah, then I started doing unbelievable stuff like driving through Rio with a safe, and it like crashing through banks and stuff. And although that was cool, the way they did that practical effect was they actually built a car that I think it was like a small, either a car or a moped type thing, inside the safe setup. You know what I mean? So it was actually a car. The safe was a car basically. The safe was a car, and they was driving it, which is cool. Like smart things like that. You got to appreciate that, even if even the bit with the bank, when they rolled it through it, that was set up, I think, on a spinny thing. So it was like at the start of it, and then it spun through the building on like a set of tracks, I guess, on a runner or something. I don't know, but I remember seeing something about that where it like spun through it. Anyway, there's loads of good stuff like that. Loads of good stuff. You just got to appreciate them for the entertainment that they are, not for the realism that they portray. Like driving cars out of planes and then landing it to drive after that God's eye and stuff. Ridiculous. Or when he drives the Charger over the Daytona over the highway, over the motorway, crazy, ridiculous. Bringing down the plane at the end of that one, silly, but it was enjoyable. It was entertainment. It doesn't have to be more than that. Yeah, and I feel like if they would have done 10 films, I think that's the biggest point of all. I don't know if 10 films plus. 10 films and counting, I don't think it would have carried as well if it was just based on, the premise of the first one, and, the premise of the first one just being flat street racing with an undertone of something else. I do think they need to keep, they sprinkle it in here or there, but I do wish they had more street racing. Just because that's the root, the origin. That's the roots of the whole thing. I feel like there should be at least one street race that's really well choreographed, put together, and is awesome, and a pretty lengthy segment in all of them, and most of them meet that. But I feel like they've dropped the ball on that in the last couple. I don't really remember as many proper pure street racing scenes, but other than that, I've really loved them. And the next film in our movie night, Monday Night Movie Club, is this Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I think I've watched it once, maybe twice, and based on just that, if you thought this was an absolute cluster mind boggle of me rambling absolute nonsense for over an hour, and you loved it, you're gonna love that, because I can't see how I don't butcher that even worse. So hopefully you have enjoyed this, and if you have, that's awesome. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. Love that. But yeah, thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one for sure, hopefully. Other than that, though, the only thing left to say is have a great day, 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 have a great day. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy it, for real. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Cheers to the best. God bless. Cheers to the best. God bless. Goodbye, my friends. Goodbye. There's the